Good evening, everyone, and it is Thursday, our 4 p.m. Zoom class. I want to go ahead and get started because there's a lot of information I need to cover. What I am noticing is that quite a few of you are not reading your emails. You're not looking at the actual videos that I'm placing in your daily assignment, and it shows when it comes time to your exams. So I really need you all to step it up with looking at the 5 to 10 minute video that I am posting, the YouTube videos that I am posting. It is great information that you will need when it comes time to your certification exam. I mean, this is a career that you can do really, really great in. So please make sure that you're serious about your billing and coding educational plan. I'm looking at tests, exams, which it's showing that you, like I said, this is not for everybody. I'm just speaking in general as a whole. And I'm noticing that still quite a few of you do not know how to find the codes. It is evident from your exams, but yet when I check your assignments, you're getting hundreds. And I've been reviewing that for quite some time. I'm looking at it. I did a spreadsheet, and it doesn't equal. The daily assignments, the labs, hundreds straight across, hundreds. And that's, like I keep stating, that's because the answers are in the back of the book. In your workbook, you only have the odd numbers. So you don't have the answers for the even or the odd numbers. Forgot which way it goes, but you don't have all the answers. And then I'm noticing for those answers are wrong. So the best way and best practice is to look at your, that's good to look in the back of the book, but try and find the answer first. And then if you are using the back of the book for your answers to check, use it as a reference. So when you do get that answer, then you can go to the CPT manual and look up that code to see what is it you're not getting so that you're able to understand those main terms, subterms that's being used to actually find the answer. This is a definitely injustice and service to yourself if you're just always going to the back of the book. If you know how to code, it's a different story because you know how to find the codes and, you're using a reference in the back, but you are familiar with how to find the codes. I'm really paying close attention to that. And it will definitely show when it comes time to your certification exam, when, if you don't pass. Because everything that we're going over, I had several students who have taken the exam who have passed. And they contacted me saying, Miss Berry, do you know our book is basically the exam? Everything that we covered is the exam. The NCCT packet that you all have is the exam. Everything that we're covering, like we're in laws and ethics right now. Right now we're in claims. Please, download or, print out that information in the NCCT. It's in your e-learning. If you study that packet, even if you do 20 or 30 sections a week or however you want to do it, if you become familiar, the NCCT test is 100% multiple choice. So it's trial and error. If you know a certain code and you have that range, but you have to know how to find the code. I just cannot stress that enough. Please do not, cheat yourself out of a good career and a high paying career, because you will not pass the exam if you do not know how to find the codes. So please, if you're not coming on Zoom class, I understand everybody have hectic schedules, families, jobs, all of that, but look at these videos. Look at that's why I'm telling each one of you, like the page numbers, when the code is found, give me the page number. Look at those page numbers. Please take your education serious. You will not be able to succeed if you don't read. Billing and coding is reading. You have to read. You have to know the information. So please look at your news and announcements. NCCT is every Tuesday for 2 p.m. Zoom class is every Thursday for 4 p.m. If you're not able to join, the videos are placed in news and announcements in the sections for NCCT. I sometimes, like I said, if I'm having difficulty with the technology, we've been having trouble with that, I'm still sending it to you in an email. I'm posting it in your e-learning section. Please go through everything in e-learning to see if you're missing anything. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. So we're in chapter 26. Chapter 26 started on yesterday, started on Wednesday, the medicine section. Chapter 26, the medicine section. So I'm going to share my screen. So the objectives that are being covered: the format, introduction to immunizations, psychiatry, biofeed, dialysis, gastroenterology, and ophthalmology. So we're only going to go through a few of those because this chapter ends on Tuesday. Your exam for this chapter is on Tuesday. The last chapter for this module, chapter 27, starts on Wednesday of next week. So it says your learning objectives: analyze the format of the medicine section, report psychiatric services, which I just covered. So we're going to go ahead into it. The medicine section is 90281 to 99607. So what I want to do today, in your CPT manual, if you have already labeled your book, which you should have by now, Dallas, I'm not sure if I know you all just got your books, but your tabs are in the front, and I also have a video for you all to watch on how to tab your manual, or you can also, for the new students, you can find it on YouTube, how to tab your CPT manual. And those tabs, MED is the medicine section. It's a green tab for the medicine section. So in your CPT manual, the medicine section, I have different books. So on page 691, it starts on page 691 for CPT manual 2021. I just received a week ago my 2023 edition, which starts on page 715. Dallas, which CPT manual did you get? What year?
22.
Okay, so can anyone tell me what page does it start on in the CPT manual 2022? The medicine section.
719. What section?
The medicine section. You said 719?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in the 2022 manual, CPT manual, the medicine section starts on page 719. So just with that, you can see how codes have been added, been deleted, and everything. So you definitely have to read your guidelines, your add-on codes, your deleted section codes, because I have 2021, which I have been working out, and the medicine section started on page 691. In my new manual, which is 2023, the medicine section starts on page 715. And then in a 2022 manual, it starts on page 719. And this happens yearly when they're updating codes. They have a lot of add-ons, a lot of deletions, different things that's going on, different disease types that have been added. So you always have to make sure that you're reading those guidelines, reading the add-ons. In your medicine section for you all, which is 719 in the 2022 manual, it tells you the page numbers to find the medicine guidelines, your add-on codes, your separate procedures, unlisted service or procedure, special report, imaging guidance, and supplied materials. So it tells you, it breaks down on that front page of the medicine section where to find and look up those codes. Immune globulins, that's what we're about to talk about now. Immunizations, administrations for vaccines. It's telling you the ranges, as well as in your textbook, the ranges that you would find this information. So it says the medicine section is 90281 to 99607. Reports diagnostic and therapeutic services that are generally non-invasive. Non-invasive means not entering a body cavity, but there are also invasive, means it's entering a body cavity in the section, such as cardiac catheterization. The section begins with subsection information and guidelines applicable to all of the medicine section codes, such as add-on codes, separate procedures, unlisted service procedures, special reports, and supplied materials. If you look on your page 719 at the top, it tells you all of those subsections in that order. The various subsections of medicine contain many specific notes to be applied with a certain group of codes, so be certain to read all notes that pertain to the group of codes with which you are working. So the format. Take a moment now to review the medicine section in the CPT manual to have an overview of the subsection. So on page 719 in your book, they're giving you, if you look on that page, all of the subsections of in the medicine section. Many
subsections are on page 713.
I'm sorry, Amber.
The subsections are on page 713.
Thank you. So the subsections in manual 2022 is on page 713. That's where you will find the subsections for the medicine section. And it says many specialized types of tests are located in the medicine section. Examples: biofeed, audiologic function tests, electrocardiograms. Codes in this section do not usually include the supplies used in the testing, therapy, or diagnostic treatments unless specifically stated in the code description or guidelines. So for the format in the medicine section, it says you report supplies, including drugs, separately. Very important. You report supplies, including drugs, separately unless otherwise instructed in the code information. So always read the notes that's located next to that code, and that would determine if you could use the supplies and including drugs. So it says, unless otherwise instructed. So CPT code 99070 is a supplies and materials code used to identify the supplying of drugs, trays, supplies, or materials needed to provide the service, or the specific HCPCS supply code, which is usually what the payer will require. For example, figure 26.1 illustrates the code for the service of a prescription for corneal contact lenses, also known as contacts. See figure 26.2 for both eyes. So let me scroll down. So figure 26.1, and it says, the supply of contact lenses may be reported as part of the service fitting or reported separately using the appropriate HCPCS level 2 supply codes, which is V2500, V2599. Reporting the supply of the lens depends on the third-party payer guidelines. So it has one code for the prescription, second code for lenses. Prescription of optical and physical characteristics of and filling of contact lens with medical supervision of adaptation, corneal lens, both eyes, except for aphakia. So on here, figure 26.1, some codes are for the supply only. Figure 26.2, contact lenses. So for this question right here on your daily assignment, quite a few of you had this wrong. And in it, I put on there, the answer was right above, but quite a few had it wrong, but I still gave credit because you did attempt to answer it. Introduction to immunizations. There are two types of immunizations, active and passive. Active immunization is the type given when it is anticipated that the person will be in contact with disease. That's active, as far as just like with COVID, if you anticipate that person will catch it, get in contact with another person, that's active. Active immunization agents can be toxoids or vaccines. Toxoids are bacteria that have been made non-toxic and when injected, produce an immune response that builds protection against a disease. Vaccines are viruses that are given in small doses and cause an immune response. Passive immunizations does not cause an immune response. Rather, the injected material contains a high level of antibodies. The first three subsections in the medicine section are immune globulins, serum or recombinant products, immunization administration for vaccines, toxoids, vaccines, toxoids. So it states here, immune globulins. The immune globulins 90281 through 90399 are passive immunization agents obtained from pooled human plasma. So listen to this carefully. Passive immunization agents obtained from pooled human plasma that is immune to a particular disease. The codes in this subsection identify only the immune globulin product and must be reported with the appropriate administration code. And here are those codes: 96365 through 96368, 96372, 96374, or 96375 as appropriate. Quite a few people had this answer wrong. Immune globulins are blank injections. A, active, B, passive, C, both A and B, or neither A nor B. What is that answer? I'm listening.
Wouldn't it be passive?
The answer is passive. I had quite a few people to put active. Quite a few people put active. And it's passive, and it states up here. Passive immunization does not cause an immune response. Rather, the injected material contains a high level of antibodies against a disease. And in parentheses, example, rabies, hepatitis B, tetanus, called immune globulins. So the answer is B, passive. Quite a few people had that wrong, but I did give credit because you did attempt to do it. Codes in the immune globulin subsection are categorized according to the type of immune globulin, like they have in it rabies, hepatitis B, etc., method of injection, types of dose, immunization administration for vaccine toxoids. And this, you all will definitely get a lot of this when coding, especially when it's time to go back to school, especially when we have an outbreak of a virus and the insurance company does not want to pay, or if it is paying, you still have to report this. So this section you really need to pay close attention to. The immunization administration subsection codes 90460 through 90474 are reported in conjunction with the vaccine toxoid subsection codes 90476 through 97049. Immunization reporting requires two codes. Remember this, immunization reporting requires two codes. one to report the administration, and one to report the substance administered. That's very important to know. Immunization requires 2 codes, one to report the administration and one to report the substance administered. A variety of administration methods are utilized to deliver the vaccine toxoid: percutaneous, intradermal, subcutaneous, intramuscular, intranasal, or oral. The administration codes are divided based on the method of administration, and in some codes, the patient age when administered with physician counseling, report each dose administered, single or combination with the appropriate administration code. Codes 9460 through 9461, not a long range, it's a 1 number difference, report immunizations administration for patients through 18. And when you're in the clinic, you're going to have those guidelines a lot of times. And a lot of times, if you're working in like pediatric clinics, you're going to use certain codes that they're already going to have up there on the chart for you to use. And a lot of times it's already in the system. You just have to click a button. But until you get to that stage, you have to know, because if it's an older person or older clinic and they're still using paper for everything, they still have some companies that just use paper, do everything manually, because they're not really trustworthy of the computer system because it fails. You would still need to know the guidelines. And it states right here, codes 9460 to 9461 report immunization administration for patients through age 18 and for which counseling has been provided to the patient's family regarding the vaccine. So just like now they have new vaccines that's out and they report and they have that counseling with the parent and the patient, letting them know that this is why they need to take this vaccine, then that's through 18, through age 18, and then you have to code that differently. Report 90460 for each vaccine administered. For vaccines with multiple components, combined vaccines, report 90460 in conjunction with 90461. So it's only 2 codes you will be using for those injections and codes for each additional component in the vaccine. Codes 9471 through 9474 report immunizations at which the physician did not provide counseling for patients of any age, including patients through age 18. So you see how that can be a little confusing, but it's really not if you look at the documentation. Counseling is 9460 through 9461. If he did not provide counseling at any age, it's 90471 through 90474. So that's why you have to know those guidelines. And they give you examples. For example, you can report multiple administrations by reporting 90471 for the first administration and then reporting 90472 for each administration after the first. And here's an example without counseling. 90471 administration service for tetanus. 90749 tetanus toxoid substance injected. So you know you're going to use 1 at the top where it says administration, and then it's 2 codes for immunization report. Requires 2 codes, 1 to report the administration and 1 to report the substance administered. So here are the 2 codes they keep showing. 90471 administration, 90749 the substance injected, 90472 administration service for rubella, 90479 substance injected, 90472 administration, 90716 varicella virus vaccine split virus substance injected. So you always know you're going to use 2 codes, and then for each additional code, it shows how you code. Or you can report the first administration with 90471 as you would usually do, and then report 90472 times the number of injections after the first one. Here's an example: administration 90471, that's the administration for the service for tetanus, and then 90472 times 2, administration, service, rubella, and diphtheria. So that's for each additional. So you can do it either way. Like they had on here, they separated it. On here, you can do that times 2. If several vaccines were administered, report the service as, here's an example for multiple vaccines: 90471, administration, service for tetanus and diphtheria; 90714, tetanus and diphtheria toxoid substance injected; 90472, administration, service for rubella; 90749, rubella virus substance injected. So for multiple vaccines, but you still use that same process. Here is the CMS rule. Medicare reimburses for tetanus injection 90749 unlisted vaccine when given for an acute injury to a person who is incompletely immunized. When a tetanus booster is given to a patient in the absence of an injury, the injection 90749 is not covered by Medicare. So you know how they say sometimes they have to go get a tetanus shot if they done stepped on a rusty nail or something like that, or if they've injured themselves, then it states right here, this is the CMS rule that would be used for that.
So for vaccines, it's not going to be, you're not going to code all of them. It's going to be a panel.
Yeah.
Are you gonna? Okay.
Yes, and it depends, but if it's not, but if they have Medicare, this is the rule. And it said when a tetanus booster is given to a patient in the absence of an injury, the injection is not covered by Medicare. So you know how they say every 10 years you need to get a booster or a tetanus shot? But if it's not due to injury, or if it's not that regular and you just want it, it's coded different. It won't be paid by Medicare, but if you have Medicaid or a different type insurance, United Healthcare, whatever, they possibly would cover it. Medicare, though, is not going to cover it. And you will have that in your notes too, in your book. When you're coding and you're looking for those guidelines for pay, it'll tell you that. It'll tell you what's covered and what's not covered by Medicare. And in your book, it's important to read your CMS rules. So it says vaccine toxoids. The vaccine toxoid subsection codes, here's the code range, report vaccine products for immunizations. The subsection contains many codes for a single disease. Example, 90716 varicella virus vaccine, as well as codes for a combination of diseases. Example, 90700 for diphtheria, tetanus, and acellular pertussis. Detail. You know, like all of these vaccines they'll have with the vaccines that you would need, your immunizations you would need to get into school. In many of the code descriptions, here we go right here saying like school age, specific ages or dosages are identified. You know how they have on their age 2, age 4, age 6, age 8, when you need to get your second shot or your third shot. And now, just like with the MMR, it was 2, one time it used to be 1 dose, then it's 2, and now they're supposed to be coming up with a 3rd dose. For example, 90658, trivalent 3 viruses, influenza virus vaccine, specifies 0.5 milliliters, whereas code 90657, trivalent influenza virus vaccine, specifies 0.25 milliliters. Vaccines have adult, pediatric, adolescent, or dosage amounts listed on the label of the vial. You must carefully review the description of the vaccine product to determine which disease is specified in the code you are assigning. When one code is available to describe multiple products given, the combination code must be assigned. If each vaccine were to be listed separately when a combination vaccine was administered, it would be considered unbundling. So here is the rule. When reporting an adult dose of a pneumococcal vaccine, 90732 to Medicare, the pneumococcal administration code is G0009 with a diagnosis code of Z23. Prophylactic vaccination, Streptococcus pneumonia. Once Medicare has assigned a HCPCS level 2 administration code for a vaccine, the CPT administration code is not accepted. You would always have that in a chart. They'll let you know. The doctor will always say what it is for, and then you would know how to code. You're not going to automatically know that. It'll be documented in the patient's chart. So right here, make sure you read your coding shots as well. There are often multiple codes available for variations of the product. For example, there are 8 codes with combinations of diphtheria. Read all descriptions carefully before assigning a code. So in that patient's chart, you want to make sure that you are reading everything, the dosage, the age. You want to make sure that you're reading everything in that chart before you code. So basically, you really need to pay attention to your vaccinations, your coding shot. If the only service is administration of a vaccine and no other service was provided, do not report an EM service. What does that EM service stands for? What's EM? Samara, what's EM service? You at work? So
Evaluation.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Dallas.
Evaluation.
Yeah, evaluation and management service. Thank you. Great. So it says if the only service is administration of a vaccine and no other service was provided, do not report an evaluation and management service. EM is evaluation and management service. So review this chart that you have. Make sure you're looking at these CMS rules. It says if a Medicare patient receives reasonable and necessary services constituting an office visit level of service, the physician may bill the office visit, the vaccine, and the administration of the vaccine. Do not report 99211 instead of the administration service when only the administration is performed. Hepatitis B vaccines and the administrations are available to Medicare beneficiaries who are at high or immediate risk of contracting hepatitis B. Diagnosis code Z23, prophylactic vaccination against viral hepatitis, must be submitted to demonstrate the medical necessity. The administration code for Medicare is G0010, administration of hepatitis B vaccine. And for other payers, the administration is 90471. So this is the information that that'll be documented when you're looking at that chart when you get ready to code for these services. Medicare, you'll have your Medicare guidelines, what you can bill for, what you can code for, depending on what section you will be working in. You
So
might
anything other than Medicare, Medicaid, all the other insurance gonna fall under that 90471.
Yes. And then you still have to check because even though like I might have United Healthcare, you might have United Healthcare. but it depends on the actual plan that you have with United Healthcare, if they will pay for it. Some people have pay PPO, some people have HMO. Just because they say they have United Healthcare does not mean that it's going to pay for the same service that I might have, that you might have, but it's a different payer. So you would always, that person at that front desk is that person who's supposed to check and see if they need prior authorization. That person is to check to see if it's covered under their insurance plan. And then before they even move to the back or move to get to you, then you would be able to code for that service if you're actual in the back part, the back office, where you're actually doing the coding. If you're actually doing the billing or you're running front office or working in that front office, that's why it's so important to check the demographics first, to check to see if that procedure, whatever they're coming in for, is covered. Because Medicare does not pay for everything that Medicaid would pay for. So you have to be very familiar with that, and you have to always check those things first. I've been to a visit before, whereas my husband's insurance is United Healthcare, my insurance is Blue Cross Blue Shield. My husband's United Healthcare has a higher deductible than my Blue Cross Blue Shield. His insurance pays for some things that my Blue Cross Blue Shield doesn't pay for. So when I go to the doctor, I always ask, which insurance, is it covered? Is it covered? Because you have to realize, if you present them with an insurance card and their bill and then it's not covered, you're going to receive that bill and then you're responsible for paying that bill, because it depends on what's the primary insurance and what's the secondary. So if the primary doesn't pay for it, that secondary insurance might pay for it. But then if it's not covered or it does not pay, you are responsible for that portion of the bill. So always check, if you don't have Medicaid or even with Medicare, always check to see if that service is paid for before you just thinking, oh, I have Blue Cross or I have Humana or if I have this, and you assume that it's paid for. Because a lot of times they're not going to tell you, they're going to send you that bill. And then if you're not able to pay that bill, you're placed in collections. So always pay attention to that. It says on here, the coding shot, the diagnosis code Z23, which is up here, diagnosis code Z23, report the need for a prophylactic, which is preventative vaccination or inoculation. These codes can be located in the index of the ICD-10 CM manual under the main term vaccination. So it's already 4:41. I want to go ahead and do a quick little review for your exam on Tuesday. And tomorrow I'm also going to put in your video, your 5 to 10 minute video, some scenarios as well of things that will be on your exam. I don't want to hold us up too long. So we're going to go ahead and review on some things that'll be on the test. So I really need you all to pay close attention in this medicine section and review, because for those of us who have children, for those of us who get vaccines, for those of us who have compromised immune systems and things like that, this is a very important and very interesting section to pay attention to, and especially if you decide to do billing or coding in a pediatric setting or anywhere, because it doesn't just have to be pediatric where you're doing vaccines. They have vaccines for shingles, they have vaccines for HIV, they have vaccines for everything. Everything now has some form of vaccine. So you really need to look at these guidelines and rules, make sure that you're looking in your CPT manual and looking at the different sections that they have and reading those guidelines, because you're going to have to determine if everything documented in that chart is accurate. And if you don't see certain things in that documentation in the chart, you are responsible for going to that doctor or that nurse and clarifying and getting accurate information so that that clinic, office, or wherever you are working in a hospital can be paid. Because if they're not getting paid and they're constantly getting claims that's denied, that will jeopardize your employment. So make sure that if you don't understand, always get clarification from the doctor or that nurse or your supervisor to make those corrections so that you can have a clean claim. So first question, this is something that will be on your exam. And remember, you do not have to write down everything. This is being recorded and I will send it to you. It will be located in your Zoom class. It's stated Zoom in the grade section of your e-learning. So remember, this video, this class is in your Zoom section in your grade section of e-learning. Once you click on Zoom, everything is there if you want to go back and review videos as well. So number 1, ventilator management coders are payable services under the physician fee schedule for Medicare. However, payment is not made for ventilation management when an EM code is billed on the same date. Ventilation management is considered bundled in the EM codes. Is that true or false? I'm gonna read it again. Ventilation management codes are payable services under the physician fee schedule for Medicare. However, payment is not made for ventilation management when an EM code is billed on the same date. Ventilation management is considered bundled in the EM codes. True or false? True or false? Nobody wants to take a guess at it?
What was the last part? You said the payment was not made?
Yeah,
The
payment is not,
evaluation ma-
yes, payment is not made for ventilation management when an EM code is billed on the same date. Ventilation management is considered bundled into the EM code. True or false?
True.
Yes, that is true.
Ventilation.
Yes, that is true. I'm trying to go to it here. Let me go to the PowerPoint slides. So remember that in the medicine section, you're billed for diagnostic and therapeutic procedures. So we went through the non-invasive, not entering, invasive, entering, subsections, immunizations. Remember, 2 types of immunizations, active and passive. Correct coding includes supply injected, administration of injection, active, bacteria or viruses. So please read your PowerPoint slides. Very, very important and helpful for you. Let me just keep scrolling down. We went over all of this. Went over this. Sorry, let's go back. So the next one, next question. If an established patient is given an immunization at the physician's office and the only service provided was the immunization, what type of codes would you use to report the service? A, only an EM code. B, an EM code, a medicine section immunization code, and an administration code. C, a medicine section immunization code and an administration code. Or D, neither an EM code nor a medicine section immunization code. I'm gonna
C?
read it. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Was it C?
Yes, C is the correct answer. I'm gonna read the question so that you all can understand. If an established patient is given an immunization at the physician's office and the only service provided was the immunization, what type of codes would you use to report the service? A, only an EM code? No, because you're not going to report an evaluation and management code. B, an EM code, a medicine section immunization code, and an administration code? No, they didn't say it was two services. C, a medicine section immunization code and an administration code. Right, because it's telling you a patient, established patient is given an immunization at the physician's office and the only service provided was the immunization. What type of code would you use to report it? So it's giving you that information there. And D, neither an EM code. So you know you're not reporting evaluation and management at all.
All right.
Number 3, what word is used to describe the pushing of liquid into the body over a long period of time? What word is used to describe the pushing of liquid into the body over a long period of time? A, installation. B, introduction. C, infusion. Or D, intrusion.
Over a period of time.
Yes, what word is used to describe the pushing of liquid into the body over a long period of time? A, installation. B, introduction. C, infusion. Or D, intrusion.
Installation.
No, listen to that key word. Pushing of liquid into the body over a long period of time.
Will it be infusion?
Yes, infusion. Infusion is the correct answer. And for that last question, the answer is also on PowerPoint number 16, important reporting rules. If vaccine administered during office visit not related to EM, report EM service with modifier 25 plus vaccine plus administration. It depends on the local carrier. Office visit for vaccine only, code only vaccine, no EM service, depends on local carrier. So everything that's on your test is in your PowerPoint slides. So please review, and when you're taking your test, I mean, it's open book. You have everything there for you. So I don't understand why I'm getting such low scores on the exams, because it's the reason is because you're getting the answers out the back of the book and you're not knowing how to find the codes, which that still is hard for me to understand because the code ranges are there for you. In your PowerPoint slides, it gives you the code ranges. In your book, it gives you the code ranges. So if this is stating 90471 routine vaccinations /90472, why would you give me a code that's 70280? You're not paying attention and you're not reading. The code ranges are there for you. So it shouldn't be no reason for me to get a code in the 6 or 7s when if you're actually paying attention to your chapter, if you're reading, and if you're using your book, which you can, you can use all the available resources that you have, then you should stay, at least give me something close to, and when you give me something close to it, I still give you credit for it. You might not get the whole 5 points, but you still might get 3 or 4 points because you're close in range, and right now you're in school, so you're not going to be perfect. So that's why I still give you credit and give you points for it. I just don't actually mark the entire thing wrong because you're learning. But if you give me something that's in a 6 or a 7 and the code is 9, and in your book is telling you the code range for vaccines, it's going to be marked wrong because you're not reading, and you have to read. Next question. And then I don't understand as well, I'm giving you the actual questions that's on your exam, and we're reviewing it. And some people are still getting the answers wrong. So that's another indicator that you're not watching the videos. You're not watching the 5-minute videos. You're not watching the Zoom classes, because if I'm actually giving you the actual questions that's on your exam and you're getting it wrong, that's evidence that you're not watching your Zoom class. Next one. What is the name of the dialysis that involves using a body cavity as a filter? What is the name of the dialysis that involves using a body cavity as a filter? A, peritoneal, B, renal, C, cavitary, or D, infusion?
Parietal.
I didn't hear you.
Peritoneal.
Peritoneal?
Can't pronounce it.
Yes, that's correct. Peritoneal. What is the name of the dialysis that involves using a body cavity as a filter? The answer is peritoneal. Next. What does the abbreviation EMG stand for? What does the abbreviation EMG stands for? A, elective myography, B, electromagnetic, C, electromyography, or D, electrical magnetics? What does the abbreviation EMG stand for? A, elective myography, B, electromagnetic, C, electromyography, D, electrical magnetic? What does the abbreviation EMG stands for? Elective myography, electromagnetic, electromyography, or electrical magnetics?
Is it A?
Not A.
EMG.
Not A. So I'll give you all that one. Electromyography. C, electromyography, EMG. So next, what time is it? 4:57. 3 little minutes. Let's do a quick little coding session right quick. We're gonna do 2. So almost 5. Give you a quick little easy ones. Electrocardiogram with 15 leads, including the interpretation and report. What is the CPT code? Electrocardiogram with 15 leads, including the interpretation and report. What is the CPT code?
Cardio.
Yeah, electrocardiogram with 15 leads, including the interpretation and report. Let me find it myself first. Well, you all can.
You say electrocardiogram,
Yes.
routine. Say it again. I'm sorry.
I am, yes. Electrocardiogram with 15 leads, including the interpretation and report. What is the CPT code? Okay, I found it.
Nine 93000
That's correct. What page are you on?
753.
Okay. And in my book, it's 728 and yours is 753.
Yeah.
Okay, so 93000, page 753 in your CPT manual. If you're in manual 2022, if you're in manual 2021, it's on page 728. Next one. Oh, this is a good one. Hot packs apply to 2 areas. Hot packs
What is a hot pack?
Hot packs apply to 2 areas.
What's a hot pack?
You tell me, damn it. That's why I say this is a good one. I want you to tell me.
Hold on.
So remember the sections we're in. We're in the medicine section.
Mhm.
And let me look for it.
Oh.
Think about it. It's in your PowerPoint slides. Think about it. Hot packs apply to 2 areas.
So
I found it. Remember, we're in the medicine section. So if you're applying a hot pack, what type of service you think that is?
Hot packs for like your muscles.
So what look at that. You're getting there.
Athletic training.
No, what look. Samara, you at work?
Yes,
Oh, I couldn't hear you.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Application. Code base 97010.
All right, Dallas, what page are you on?
834.
Okay, so that top part, it should say modalities. Does it say that?
Yeah.
It says any physical agent applied to produce therapeutic changes to biologic tissue includes but not limited to thermal, acoustic, light, mechanical, or electric energy. And it says right there, the hot packs apply to 2 areas. And it says the application of a modality does not require direct one-on-one patient contact. And then 97010 states application of a modality to 1 or more areas, hot or cold packs. Do you see that? Dallas, that's what you read as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so what made you look in that area?
Hot packs. I just thought about the athletic because I know when I play sports, I use hot packs for my muscles. And I looked under athletic training evaluations.
And it sent you somewhere else.
It sent you, yeah, it sent me somewhere else, but I kept looking till I saw application.
And so that's what I want you to do, because see, if you go into the area, it's going to say see here or go here and go there. And that's how you get to understand how to actually find the code. And the key thing is, remember, we're in the medicine section. So even though you might be in another section or whatever, but remember, we're in the medicine section, unless like when we was in the digestive system, and it state C integumentary system, because some of those codes goes back to another system of the body. So that's why it's so important to read your notes when it's telling you, don't directly code right there. It says, see this, see that. You have to follow the rules and read what it's telling you to do to get the correct code. Because if not, when you submit that claim, it's going to be denied. And
that's
then
my thing was connecting the service to the subsection of finding.
Right. So once you look at it, you have to make sure that you're truly reading the patient documentation, what's in the patient's chart. Because everything is not going to be correct when that doctor's writing, because a lot of times, they're only giving you 10 minutes sometimes, if you can get that now. And they're rushing and they're not putting everything. And then when you're going through that chart, you need to make sure that you're reading everything, because they might not have said they gave it an injection, because a lot of times doctors don't really give those injections. The medical assistant now does a lot of those injections. But if that stuff is not documented, you're losing money. And then, so you need to ask, or like you saw something that's going on, because if you're in the back being a coder, you're not going to see a lot of things. So you have to actually look through that chart, read all the documentation, look at the tests that were provided, because you need to code for everything that was done. Every service that was done, you need to make sure that you code and bill for. Because remember, this is your longevity, this is your career, this is how you're going to maintain and keep that job, this is how you're going to be paid. And when you want raises, all of that goes into account if you're getting those charges paid for. So I know it's, look, 5:09. That was really, really good. Dallas, I'm just so excited and so proud of you. I mean, you really have caught on. Keep up the great work. Samara, I know you're at work because you're really, really good at it, but I wanted to give that one with the pot packs, because I know that was going to be a little tricky one. And you all got it. So tomorrow I'm going to put some more questions on. I'm not going to give the answers, but I'm going to give you some questions that's going to be on your exam. So if you know those questions, look for those answers. You had a few in there in your PowerPoint slides, like we're in right here, photodynamic therapy. Then if you go on special dermatological procedures, so it's giving you physician medicine and rehabilitation. Look at this right here, used by physician, and it's telling you that code range. And for this one, you see it right here, Samara and Dallas. 9,
Yes, ma'am.
physical medicine and rehabilitation, 97010. What was that answer? 97010. Used by physicians and therapists to report services for a variety of treatments: traction, electrical stimulation used to help heal fractures, therapeutic exercises, patient training, gait training, functional activities. Codes often have time components. Example, 97761 reports prosthetic training per 15 minutes. Codes divided by type of therapy. Example, physical or occupational. Modalities are divided by supervised or constant attendance. And for modalities, for this answer, 97010, if you look under it, it said supervised. So those, look, that answer, those two slides gave the answer to the question that's on your exam. So when you're taking your exam, look in e-learning, or if you have them printed out by your side or whatever you have, if you have a split screen with them on, however you do it, when you're reading a lot of those questions and it have like certain little scenarios, look in your PowerPoint slides. Majority of your answers are in your PowerPoint slides. Look in your exercises. A lot of those questions are taken from the exercises. But remember, you have to know how to code. If you all have not labeled your CPT manual, have you done that, Dallas?
No.
Please label your CPT manual. In the front are all of your stickers in the book. If you go on YouTube, I think, matter of fact, I'm not sure, I think I might have it in the e-learning section. I'm gonna look to see if I have it in the e-learning, but you can go on YouTube and put on tabbing your CPT manual. And it's a little tutorial that shows you how to tab each section. And then you might have some other little tricks that's good for you. Like in mine, I don't actually tab gastro or vaccines, because I'm familiar with it. But for you all, you might want to have your tab placed for vaccines so you can go straight to the vaccine section. So it's up to you, but the basics they will show you. And then like the other tabs that they have in the book, you can use them, you know, for other areas that you might need, that you think would be helpful for you. So again, thank you all for joining. Remember, if you're not able to get on, please review this. I'm seeing it in your exams. I'm just so disappointed because there's no reason anyone should fail an exam that's open book and you have all of the resources available. That just really shows that you're not paying attention or not taking your education serious. So please remember to, if you have questions, if you want to do a one-on-one, please call me, text me. We can do a one-on-one Zoom class that's not recorded. It's just you and myself doing an actual tutorial, whereas we can do step-by-step the processes. Remember, for my new students, you can go back to the beginning of your chapters where it starts to coding, CPT coding, the basics, the guidelines. Remember, you will go back to that. It's a Ferris wheel. You will get back to that. But if you're having difficulty with, you know, coding, because we're in the thick of it, go back to those sessions and review. Get the basics, get that basic knowledge, whereas you know where to look and how to find the main term, the subterms. The book is everything you need. It's all of your information. Practice makes perfect. But remember, I will not just give you a 0 or mark your answers wrong if you're close. Like say this is 97010 and you put 9705. I'll still give you credit. You might not get the whole answer, but if it's 5, I'll give you 2 or 3 points because you were close and you're getting it. This is class, so I'm not going to grade that hard, whereas I'm just marking everything wrong. So please take that into account as well. And if you need assistance, please reach out to me. You all enjoy your day. Remember, I'm going to put some of these questions that will be on your test in your 5 to 10 minute video for tomorrow. So please make sure that you get some of those questions, look for those answers. It will help you on your exam. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I will see you all next week, but you all will see me in video on tomorrow. Enjoy your weekend and stay safe. Bye-bye.